9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight headlines. We have the closing of the annual Quran recitation competitions at the Defense Minister. For the international scene, Airbus and Air France relaxed the Paris flight. Come to our newsroom. Following the IGAD meeting in which the head of state took part and which focused on Sudan, we provide an update on the latest news. The situation is, in the brotherly countries of Sudan has been degenerating for several days. Violent fight and internal clashes have set the capital Khartoum on fire in this blessed month of Ramadan. This has resulted in the death of a good number of civilians and injured in their wake. Diplomatic initiatives are multiplying, whether from IGAD member countries, African Union. Following their meeting, IGAD member countries have sent a delegation to Khartoum as soon as possible to mediate and resume negotiations between the two sides as soon as possible. It will be led by the South Sudanese Salva Kiir, accompanied by William Ruto and the President of the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency Ismail Omar Gelle. In addition, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Moussa Faki Mahamat, has also expressed his willingness to travel immediately to the countries to attend mediation, but the security conditions are not yet in places for his arrival. It is worth noting that during this address to the IGAD meeting, President Gelle called for a ceasefire. He had also expressed concern about the escalations of violence and hostility at the end of the whole month of Ramadan. However, their movement is impossible at these times. In a final statement issued at the end of this emergency meeting to discuss the recent development in the countries, the Arab League also stressed the need to return to peaceful negotiations and establish a new phase that meets the ambitions of the brotherly Sudanese people and thus contributed to strengthen political and economic security and stability in these important countries. This present situation has resulted in the creation of 7 million people who are hostages since the beginning of these clashes. Some have hastily abandoned their homes. Many downtown residents have packed their bags and are trying to reach relatives in quieter areas. For its part, the international community has urged restraint and a resolution of their dispute through dialogue. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged that stability and security be established to help the injured and deliver humanitarian aid. The President of the National Assembly, His Excellency Dileita Mohamed Dileita, received today the courtesy visit of the Ambassador of the Republic of Cuba, accredited to Djibouti, Mr. Marcelo Caballero Torres. The meeting took place in the lounges of honors of the Parliament in the presence of the Secretary General of the Parliament, Mr. Ismail Gulal Boudin, and the Director of Cabinet of the President of the National Assembly, Mr. Idris Mohamed Ahmed. The two men discussed the state of friendship and cooperation between the two countries, as well as the ways and means to further strengthen them. Exchanges also focused on cooperation between the parliament institutions of the two countries through the revitalizing of the two parliamentary friendship groups. As the blessed month of Ramadan is coming to an end, the annual competitions of recitations of the Holy Quran organized by the Directorate General of International Relations of the Djiboutian Army has also come to the end of its organization this Monday, April 17, 2023. On this occasion, is a ceremony co-chaired by the Minister of Defense in charge of the relation with Parliament, His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohamed Burhan, and the Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, was organized in honor of the different winners of this competition. This event saw the participation of very important personalities of the notably the Chargé d'Affaires and the military attaché of the Saudi embassy in Djibouti, the representatives of the Ministry of Waqf, the illustrious Sheikh of the countries, the Chief of the Staff of the Defense, the Director General of the National Police, the Chief of the Staff of the National Gendarmerie, as well as the high executives of the staff of the Djiboutian Armed Forces. The festivity began with the customary military ceremony and the honors that were paid by the female personnel of the Djiboutian Army to the Minister of Defense and the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces upon their arrival at the site. Because learning, reading, and reciting and memorizing the words of Allah is not an opportunity that is given to everyone. The Department of the Arab World and Religious Affairs of the Djiboutian Army organizes this annual event with the great seriousness and to encourage each time a wider public. It is in this spirit that the ceremony was launched from the beginning of by a Quranic citations, followed by the interventions of Captain Muhammad Amin Muhammad of the DGRE, who welcomed the honorable guests for announcing the programs of the ceremony. Thereafter, the Minister of Defense in charge of the relation with Parliament and the Chief of the General Staff of the Army Forces will proceed to get to the awarding of the prizes to the competitor who have distinguished themselves the most during this tournament.
ونصلي ونسلم صلاة وسلاما يليقان بمقام سيد الأنبياء وإمام المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وأتم التسليم. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها. صلى عليك الله يا علم الهدى ما هبت النسائم وما ناحت على الأيك الحمائم فيا حماة الإسلام وحراس العقيدة وخليفة الله في الأرض. أما بعد، نقول لكم أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم في رحاب مقر نادي ضباط حسن بسومة، مقر الإدارة العامة للعلاقات الدولية للقوات المسلحة، وذلك بحضور حفل تكريم الفائزين بمسابقة القرآن الكريم للعسكريين لدورتها الخامسة التي قيمت في مقر العلاقات الدولية والتي تنظمها الإدارة العامة للقوات المسلحة وخاصة إدارة العالم العربي والشؤون الدينية بقيادة المقدم الركن إبراهيم زكريا شيخ إبراهيم، وبالتنسيق مع وزارة الشؤون الإسلامية والأوقاف، وبمساهمة ودعم سفارة المملكة العربية السعودية والملحقين العسكريين بجيبوتي، وذلك بحضور الأخ العزيز عبد العزيز الحربي القائم بال.
هذه النتائج لمسابقة القرآن دورها الخامس، وحويا والله النتائج وحن إعلامين إن مسابقة القرآن وحويا هل كان قبلنا حديث النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام إدارة أن قبلنا أي قيب قال قوات المسلحة بأكملهم دمان تبقى وحويا المسلح بالبلاد. الديان كود جيوم لابد فايز كوبادة صدق كجيسي القرآن كهلا وحويا فايز ويان آدن أحمد علمي.
Finally, after the break and prior, the festivity continued this time with the folk harpi and religious song that they will recite to mark this event. Finally, the ceremony to close the annual competitions of the recitations of the Holy Quran organized by the Directorate General of the International Relations of the Djiboutian Armed Forces ended with the religious speeches, invocations and supplication pronounced by Sheikh Jilani.
marka nabigu salawaatu rabbi wa salaamuhu alayhi Aisha weydiisay haddaan laylatul qadri la kulmo maxaan idhahaa qawli wuxuu yiri waxaad tidhaahdaa allahumma innaka afuwun kariimun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni sida ku ducaysay marka ilaahay waxaan weydiisanaynaa habeenka laylatul qadriga inuu ilaahayna waafajiyo ku ilaahay waafajiyo 380 iyo afrood ilaahay ajarkeediisa sawaabkiisa الله نغير بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم تقبل منا القليل واعف عن الكثير ولا تؤاخذنا بالتقصير اللهم اعتق رقابنا ورقاب آبائنا وأمهاتنا من النار اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا واسترنا فوق الأرض وتحت الأرض ويوم العدل عليه اللهم وفقنا ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر يا رب العالمين اللهم اجعلنا من المقبولين ولا تجعلنا من المردين آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب.
As part of activities of the blessed month of Ramadan, the Ministry of Youth and Culture, as every year, organized last night the final of the 10th edition of the competition of Qasid. This year, the competition, which aimed to detect the talent of different ages and promote culture, was open to all kinds of languages and participated 35 troops 5 Afars, 4 Somalis, and 1 Arab. The competition was held in two phases, the pre-selection phase and the final phase. And during the pre-selection, the different criteria of the notation of the final last night were the voice of the rhythms, the melody, the cohesions of the group, and finally the presence of the stage. The ceremony, the final 10th editions of the competition of Kasai saw the participation of officials of the Ministry of Culture, the member of the jury, as well as many supporters and young people who came to attend. During these holy months, competitions and devotions are combined to strengthen moral values and multiply the gestures of mutual aid and sharing. It is in this context that National Agency for Persons with Disability organized this morning a ceremony of distribution of clothing for people with disability and especially for children with disability through associations of people with disability. The General Director of Mr. Douale Saïd Mahamoud began the distributions in the city of Djibouti with the associations of people with disability. Thus, the first distribution took place within the ANPH and the operations will continue in the 5 regions of Djibouti. In his speech, the General Director of ANPH, Mr. Douale Saïd Mahmoud, stressed that these operations of distribution of clothes of the Eid aims to essentially to bring the necessary help and moral support in this day of festival to this category of people often marginalized, to give back the smile and to allow them to celebrate with their family. On the occasions of the preparations for the Fitr holidays and the questions of donations for orphans, Djibouti Women Association, in collaboration with the Ministry of Women and Family and the National Union of Djiboutian Women, proceeded today, April 18, 2023, to distribution of new clothes to the children of the Child Protection Center, which is under the supervision of the UNFD. It is in a framework of joy and happiness, and also the opportunity to share a pleasant moment with the children of the center through the delivery and distributions of clothes for the feast of Eid al-Fitr. It is also an opportunity to congratulate and thank Djibouti Women Association who offered these new clothes, the winners of the social prizes of the Grand Prix of the Health State of Djibouti for this year's 2023. In particular, the director of the CPA, the representative of the Ministry of Women and Family, UNFD, and the representative of the diaspora handed over the new clothes to the children and wish them a happy holiday. That's the representative of the Ministry of Women and Family, and UNFD thanked the associations that were willing to share with the children of the CPA the gifts destined for orphans this year, and congratulated them for their usual generosity, and encouraged Djibouti Women Association, Barwaho Associations of Sweden, and Global Diaspora Association for their constant support to the Djiboutian. The fifth edition of the distribution of gifts to orphans and people with special needs as part of the approach of the Committee for the Development of Mulud organizes and April 6, 2023 a ceremony of distribution of gifts to 150 orphans and 50 people with the special needs in this in the Sabah prefecture of the Dakhil region. This operation, which took place for the fifth consecutive year, so the person of prefect of the region, Mr. Adan Darar Musa, as well as the president of the General Council, Had Hussein Ahmed. In addition, they served together the Committee for the Development of Mulud, the Mulud sub-prefect, Mr. Abdullah Roble, the Barra national and local elected officials, administrations, executives, the representative of the youth of the sector, and the representative of the youth, the others of this sub-prefecture. On the sidelines of the ceremony, the Committee for the Development of Mulud organized a collective iftar for more than 150 guests from different horizons. The associations of women committed to the protection of the environment by Medina Salah proceeded to distributions of the clothes for the populations living in the rural areas in the localities of Dorra, Ot'oy, and Balhu, subprefecture of Dorra, and the regions of Tajura. Some 300 vulnerable families for the most the has distributed clothes. Clothes are made up of different items of men and women, children, in the presence of local elected officials, Ibrahim Idris and Mr. Ali Dini, and the elders of the regions. The ceremony was chaired by the acting prefect of Al-Jurra, Mr. Habib Jilani, and thanked the Tajura Association for these initiatives, which will spare no effort to improve the necessary conditions. Testifies this will has day. For the international scene, the pensions reforms was necessary. Please, President Macron. Listen for more details.
French President Emmanuel Macron said Monday that people is anger over raising the retirement age from 62 to 64, but insisted that it was needed. A television address to the nation, Macron said this were needed to guarantee everyone after he enacted the Britain law on city. Culturally working is also practicing more ways. Our whole country hated. Macron acknowledged the anger over increasing price and costs that don't allow many French people to live well. The evening address kicks off a likely debate for French president, who is trying to repair the damage done to this people's image and politics by forcing the pension plan through parliament last month.
The crashes of Rio flight in 2009, Airbus and Air France released. Listen to Hinda Ibrahim.
Faced potential funds of up to 225 100,000 euro each if convicted, while that's just a fraction of their annual revenue. A conviction for the aviation heavyweights could reverberate through the industry. No one risks prison as only the candidates are on trial. Air France has already compensated the families of those killed who came from three countries. Families from around the world are among the plaintiffs, including many in Brazil.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good